Swing Summit, week 3, Thursday, one more day to go. Today we talked about open and closed lead. The difference between them is, in closed lead, is inside of the stretch I give her a lot of information, stretch again, and we lead and follow every movement, every step, move, okay?
It's very specific in terms of how much energy I get and how much speed and distance he wants me to go out of my stretch. It doesn't mean that he needs to pull me through anything. It's not a constant lead, but it's a closed lead that gives me specific information of what I'm supposed to do.
To transition into open lead, where basically the followers have their own space to decide what they want to do. We want to go from, let's say we stretch and give information. Here, I take away that stretch. I invite in any way I can for her to know that something is going on. Okay? Then we have the yes and. For instance, if Katja does the same thing. I'm inviting, please, go. I can say yes and and add something else, and we can ball back and forth between she's adding something to that, or I add something back to that again, until at some point we decide, okay, it's a good time to switch back to closed lead and get a new position where we can do this. That new position was, for instance, instead of a swing out, here again, I don't stretch, I release and invite, and she picks up something.
For example, heel toes, very simple thing to do.
Yeah.
And if Ali joins into that, and I get my yes and, I might continue with something that comes naturally out of that movement.
And I can then add to that and say, okay, hallelujahs from here, boom, 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 and we can play back and forth like that. Or we can use this again, inviting into a breakaway, and then find a way to get back to each other. And when do we go back to each other? Right after we hear the call for home, the phrase is closing, that's the when we go back together again.
Yes. We talked about reflecting changes in the music in your dancing. So when you hear a change in the music, the thing that we call the call for home, go back to the home level. You can have many different contrasts. This was one where we would dance in one direction and had a directional contrast where we would go sideways to reflect a change in the music. There's other ones that would be if we dance super bouncy before, and on the change, we have a freeze, and that's a really good contrast, not only because we're not moving, but also because we bounced a lot before. If we had something rotational before, then we could have something straight after that. That was not exactly what I meant, but okay. Same way, something straight, something rotational, just find your own contrast in this. Lots of ways to play it.
Could you give us a couple of examples of simple things we can do when we get into this open lead?
Yes.
Yeah.
So for instance, in the underarm
Underarm turn, if you have direction, what I like to do is Shorty George. You know this from the Shim Sham. You have a little kick, ball change, and then the knees switch from side to side where the body still stays straight. You can do basically a camel walk. We have that little push and pull that involves the hip. You can do boogie fronts, the pump, or with one hand, still with your leader, chook, still possible. You can work your hips. I would like to see your free arm dancing with you, so it's not just the feet doing stuff. You could,
in face to face, you can get inspired from the Shim Sham.
yeah, you can use Shim Sham stuff, tacky
We
ends.
can lead a lot of these stuff as well, but as a simpler version, inspiration works.
We had a little bit of the pushes,
Pushovers.
push, then push. You might be crazy. Down, they also work it fast. Boom, boom, stuff like that. Boogie backs when you're in open lead. Nice time to pop and go boogie back. Go back together like you know from the Shim Sham. Stuff like that. Hallelujahs. Always appreciate it. Give lots of room to dance it out. We have
Mess
little mess
arounds.
arounds. Pecking.
da 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 da.